In the TV show From, the connection between time and space is intricately tied to the mysterious town where the characters are trapped. The show explores the concept of being stuck in a place where normal rules of time and space don't seem to apply. Here's how these elements are connected and the potential for time travel based on season 1 and 2 theories. Hello everyone, I am the movie guru and welcome to another episode of From Theories. Now these spatial anomalies are the town's geography, the forest, and other locations, including the perception of time, time loops, and possible time jumps. Now, season 2 ended on a cliffhanger of Tabitha waking up in the hospital, seemingly in the real world after being pushed out of the lighthouse tower by the one we know as the boy in white. As she wakes up from the bed and stumbles around the hospital room, she pulls back the hospital curtains and looks down out the window at a no-name town with a questionable reflection in the window. As far as those theories, I do believe that it is Tabitha's reflection in the window. Now, the real question is, what year is it? From all the pictures we've seen where season 2 left off, we do not see any clocks, calendars, dates, or any type of clearly identified technology that could possibly tell us what time or year she's in. There are a few items in the background as she is looking out the window that may indicate that she is not in the same timeline that her and her family left or entered. In the window scene in the lower left side, we see what looks like a 1978 Ford 100 ambulance. Now, the reason I made this connection to that time period in that vehicle is because if you go back to the vision that Tabitha had when she first entered the lighthouse, in her vision and went up the winding stairs, she saw a bunch of numbers written on the back of the steps. These dates include 1978, and it just so happens that the similar looking car, as well as the yellow Bronco in Victor's flashbacks, are from the year 1978. So the next question is how? Okay, I made some connections and identified some possible time markers in the pictures of Tabitha. So now you're thinking how? Well, going back to the steps and the dates, there were 9 dates written on top of those steps. Those 9 dates are random order, represent almost an eternity or what some could consider forever. There is a poem on the wall of Kenny's mom's diner that connects with these dates by saying that forever is composed of nows. In the poem, Forever is composed of nows, written by Emily Dickinson, explains the idea that time is a series of nows and that forever is a stream of present tense experiences. The poem's illustration depicts present tense as a map pin, temporal latitude of home. The nows flow along a path that winds its way forever, taking the form of a snake biting its own tail. Now this symbol is similar to the one we've seen in the caves, where it's the circle on a sideways 8, seemingly to go around and around forever. Other key images in the hospital scene that may give away the time, place, or location is the clock, church, tower. The easily recognizable piece is either 1 or 2 locations. The first is a town called Troy, New York. Now, during my investigation, Troy came up and I immediately connected with the writing on the ambulance outside of Christie's clinic that says T.R.O.Y. Even though those names match up, I doubt that they are in Troy, but trying to make a connection with that dead end does seem sufficient. There happens to be a tower that happens to look like the one we see Tabitha looking at. The town that I think they are actually in that mostly matches up with the window shot is Camden, Maine. This shot matches the town perfectly, But if you look at the angle the picture was taken, it does not show a multi-level hospital building in the distance. But this hospital that Tabitha's in could have been a set design and made just for the show. But I like this because it also connects with my Vikings theory, which also connects to the runes. Now, in actual history, the Vikings crossed the Atlantic Ocean and landed in what they call Vinland, which was Canada and the Nova Scotia area. If that's the case, that would explain some of the writings and the runes and some of those pre-built structures that some of the town's members have stumbled upon. They were from the Vinland Saga or Viking era. After the hospital scene, we see Tabitha on the street in her clothes from From-ily. I assume she escaped out the hospital because the first protocol for the hospital with anything like a gunshot or missing person is to call the police. And I'm sure that she does not want to talk to the police with no ID and this crazy story about how her family's missing. And especially if they ask her, where did she come from? Now, we see another scene and there is a guy in the background, but we cannot tell if he has on modern 2024 clothes or some sort of vintage 1978 clothes. The picture of him is blurry, even though we can clearly see Tabitha, and the color pattern and the design of what he's wearing does look vintage. If Tabitha is in 1978, then how did she get back there? Well, we heard in season 1 that From-ily is a pocket dimension. During Fatima's 1-year party, Dale mentioned that they were in a pocket dimension instead of what string theorists believe as a multiverse of 11 different dimensions. If string theory is true, our universe has extra dimensions that lie curled up at every point around us. Now, a pocket dimension is when a vacuum is created into a wormhole to a self-contained space. Now, this happens in what Jade called out as the Einstein-Rosen-Podolsky bridge. This bridge is away from the normal route of travel, space and time, and forms a closed time-like curve, time loop. This has been somewhat shown in the series in one of the drawings that looks like a fishbowl. I honestly believe you can't talk about time travel without bringing up space. So if time travel is real, then space would also be real, and they could possibly be in a closed environment, possibly in the actual space outside of Earth. Now, there have been a couple other shows and series where this was done. This was shown in the movie Signal, as well as in the Fox series Wayward Pines. And if you want to know more about the comparisons of From and Wayward Pines, check out my video I did about the two. Another indication in the show of time and space is the clocks, watches, astrological signs, and the drawings of time-related objects. In the scene where Trudy approaches Jade in the front of the bar, she is seen wearing a black shirt with 4 layered circles. Originally, I believed this was Trudy's shirt, but it was pointed out in the comments that this was actually Julie's shirt and that Trudy borrowed it after Julie took her pillow. That means that Julie has technically worn 2 very important shirts. The first one was the 3-eyed goat, and the second one was this astrological rune shirt. Now, in the shirt in the picture, the middle layer is a yin and yang, surrounded by a clock face, surrounded by astrological signs and zodiac signs on the outer circle. Now, one of the meanings of this relates to the phrase, as above, so below. This phrase can connect to the Bible in Matthew 6:10 and the Lord's Prayer, which says, set the world right, do what's best, as above, so below, and your kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Astrological charts and maps which reflect the heavens of our solar system at a specific point in time. Astrology charts are maps which reflect the heavens of our solar system at a specific point in time. Astrologers delineate these maps and find specific correlations. These charts represent a rough particle physics diagram relating to the string theory. This states that everything in our universe is connected, like fractals. Astrologers may tend to call this mapping and delineating cycles of corresponding energies and resonances. In relation to the string theory, Trudy Shirk connects it to the second reference we hear on the show. This applies to astrology because of what happens in the heavens is mirrored here on Earth or vice versa. Neither is the cause of the other happening. It's like a clock doesn't cause the time to be noon, but lets you know that it is noon. And the energy of lunchtime, midday, when the sun is directly overhead, is different but similar. Similarly, summer and winter have very different energies associated with each. So when the sun is in Cancer, it feels like the summer among many other things, and Cancers have specific traits because of its influence on the sun's position, along with the traits of the other planets and energies and aspects. During the winter, when the sun is in Capricorn, we have a cold, serious feeling accompanied by the death of lots of plants and animals. The shortest days of the year and living off harvest that was reaped in the fall. So Capricorn deals with the endings, governments, leaders, and the elderly, reaping what we have down and learning lessons essential to survival. The energies of the times are imprinted on each life and reflected by the position of the planets, as above, so below. As written, so without. What you believe and put your energy towards and your thoughts on will be reflected in the life you choose to live, the environment you surround yourself with, and the way you treat people. As far as clocks and time, Reddit fans are convinced the talisman are symbols that represent time on a clock. There are 12 hours, 12 months, 12 talismans with 12 marks, 12 buildings, and even as far as 12 main characters in the story. There was even a possible Easter egg moment when Jim was writing ideas on the house walls and Tabitha asked him if he figured it out, and his answer was 12. The number 12 carries certain religious, mythological, and mythical symbolism, generally representing perfection, entirely of cosmic order. The key to understanding why this number is divine is that the symbolic of the creation of the universe, as in the 12 apostles of Jesus Christ. It has also been noted that many of the clocks have no second hands, and if you compare the clocks to the talismans, they are a circle, much like a clock, and there are 3 arms in that symbol. We already know that there are different orientations of the symbol because we have seen that Jade has made special mention of this. Could it be that each position of each symbol is representative of a different time of day, seconds included? There are a few drawings that surfaced of clocks that look like a game board wheel with a spinning arrow. The clock in the picture could be a timer like in chess, and the colors with arrows represent how the characters use the faraway trees to move through each level of the game. The other connection about the clock and the faraway trees is how supposedly you never end up in the same place twice, but you may because you have to enter at a certain time or time of day in relation to the talismans based on the time on the clock. As far as clocks, in relation to being used in witchcraft, there aren't many traditional examples. Witchcraft tends to allude to rural practices, and until very recently, the mechanical clock was an item of extreme luxury not available to the countryside practitioners. There was a theory that Father Khatri was sitting in a sundial clock face in the woods talking to Nathan. The sundial he was in would have had 12, but it would follow the solar path, east 3, south 6, west 9, and north 12. There is a general connection to the clock face in the circular astrological chart. They are intimately related. One could say that the clock embodies time not being controllable, only measurable. I think the writers are directing us to think about time. They have a new character named after a watch manufacturer, Elgin. They showed a grandfather clock in the monster's lair, and they showed a drawn clock face in the show episodes and behind the scenes pictures. This also relates to the music box, which the theory is instead of comparing it to a clock, compared to a symbol that is saying time is running out. When it comes to the lighthouse that Tabitha entered and then exited From-ily, in fiction, this is what is known as a time portal. Time portals are doorways in time that transport characters to the past or future. They are often used in science fiction and fantasy and are a useful plot device when characters move back and forth in time. Time portals are different from time machines because they are permanent or semi-permanent fixtures that link specific points in time. The lighthouse in From is a mysterious and almost mythical place within the show. It serves as a beacon or focal point of the unknown, guiding characters towards answers or deeper understandings. It holds a mysterious power linked to the forces trapping the town's residents. The lighthouse is suggested to be a transitional point in the series, potentially leading to the understanding or escape from the supernatural forces controlling the town. It's a place that promises answers, but shrouded in mystery. Lighthouses traditionally symbolize guidance and hope, shining light from the darkness. In From, the lighthouse might represent a hope for enlightenment or escape from the terror that characters face, though it remains elusive and possibly dangerous. The lighthouse purpose is less clear and more abstract. It's part of the larger mystery in the show, possibly tied to the origins of the supernatural forces or a way out of the town. Its purpose is more about offering potential solutions or deeper mysteries rather than a single definitive goal. The lighthouse represents one of the many mysteries the characters encounter. The journey to the lighthouse is more of a collective struggle to survive and understand rather than a personal quest for power. It symbolizes an ongoing search for meaning or escape. The lighthouse also signifies a more metaphysical, while the physical location, its meaning and importance are tied to the psychological and supernatural elements of the show. It represents more than just a place. It's a symbol of hope, fear, and the unknown. Throughout season 1 and 2, we have seen multiple people who appeared from other timelines, indicating that time travel does exist. Maybe not in a physical, but in a vision-like or dream-like state. The first recognizable vision from the past is when Jade is in the forest and sees the vision of the Civil War soldiers. Now, this could have all been in Jade's head, but seeing the drawings from Victor's sister lets us know that Jade was not the only one to see the soldiers. Jade did only see one soldier, where the drawing was of two. We don't know who or what the guy crushed in the root cellar was. Was he a soldier or was he a regular person? Or what was up in season 3 with the red rocks, or visibly the man in the snow drinking from the skull. But any of these visions that Jade saw can't be from the same time period that he was in, and have to be from the past based on how they were dressed. In conclusion, the connection between time and space in From is rooted in the mysterious nature of the town. The spatial anomalies suggest a place where normal rules do not apply, and the temporal distortions imply that time might be fluid or fragmented. While time travel isn't explicitly shown, the series hints at the possibility that time and space are intertwined in a way that could lead to different timelines or reality bleeding into each other. As the show progresses, these themes are likely to be explored further, possibly leading to more concrete explanations or revelations about the town. Thank you for listening. I'm the Movie Guru, and I will see you on the next video. And as always, let's discuss in the comments.